This is Orange Nation Overtime with Steve Infanti and Paulie Sibilia.
Welcome into Orange Nation Overtime, everyone. Alongside Paulie Sibilia, I am Steve Infanti, and what a win for the SU men's basketball team. Season-saving win. Can we say that? Season-saving win.
Yeah. You've now put yourself on the bubble to be on the bubble.
It was quite the win, 62-60 over Tennessee, and again, very similar game with what we saw against Houston. Both teams played excellent defense, relatively low scoring, goes down to the final possession. This time, against Houston, they didn't get the foul call. They end up losing the game in overtime. This time around, they do get the foul call. William Kyle makes 1 and 2, and then they get a stop at the other end. And, we said going into this 4-game stretch, they needed to win at least one. Now they've got one, and it just feels like that victory changes the entire complexion of the season.
Yeah, you hope it translates into a momentum shift for Syracuse basketball that's not been there for 3 years under Coach Autry.
Yeah, and several heroes last night. Nate King's the hero in the first half. Was fantastic, 19 points in 18 minutes. I don't know if I've ever seen, or I'm sure I have at some point. I can't remember the last time somebody went off like that in one half and then didn't score after that. He didn't score in the second half.
But it wasn't a Syracuse guy. It was Burton from Notre Dame. Did it against Syracuse. They came out and completely shut him down. And Rick Barnes isn't letting him score in the next half.
Yeah, he didn't even really look at the basket in the second half after having that amazing first half. But other guys stepped it up after intermission. J.J. Starling in particular was great, hit a couple of big shots down the stretch of that game. William Kyle was great. He is such a difference maker, William Kyle. We'll get to the freshman in a second, but 6 blocks from William Kyle, 10 points, 7 rebounds, hit the free throw that put him ahead. Yes, I know he struggles at the line, 4 for 10 from the free throw line, but man, he impacts both ends of the court.
Yeah, he's been great. And Syracuse hasn't had a shot blocker like him, and I don't know when, by Keita maybe, like somebody that was you just got to be a disruptor on defense. They got to know you're there, and everybody knows he's there, Steve. He's hard to score on.
Yeah, and he does a great job blocking shots without fouling. And there was one play in particular in the second half last night where he just went straight up. And if he swats at the ball or, if he comes at the offensive player at all, he's going to be whistled for a foul. He just jumped straight up. And the shot went into his hands. He blocked it because they shot it into him, and it's that's a skill, right? Because most shot blockers, they want to swat at you, and that ends up creating fouls. And he does a really nice job blocking shots, making contact with the basketball, but not making contact with the offensive player.
I don't want to be negative on this, but let's talk about something we haven't been able to talk about on our show because we were so short on time today. Is there concern at the point guard position for you? There was a questionable shot at the end of the game where Nathan George takes a shot early on in the shot clock, misses, and keeps Tennessee in the game when they could have, that could have been the dagger.
Yeah, so you're going back to final minute of the game. Syracuse is up 2. It's 60-58, and George, took a jump shot very early in the shot clock, as you mentioned. It did 2 things. You want the 2 for 1 there, but you want to bring down the clock enough so that even if Tennessee does go down and score, which they did, you can hold for 1. You can hold for the final possession. You either win the game or you go into overtime. That's not what happened. And, by the way, Nathan George was 1 for 7 from the field. He wasn't having a great game offensively. That's not a good play. That's not a good basketball play for a lot of reasons. And he misses the shot there. Tennessee goes down and scores. And now there's an 8-second difference between game clock and shot clock. And it worked out in SU's favor in this one, but that put them in jeopardy of losing that game at the end of regulation. Is there a concern? I am concerned with the way he has played against the better competition. 7 turnovers against Iowa State, 6 turnovers against Houston, 4 turnovers last night against Tennessee, 1 for 7 from the field. Let's not forget in the Houston game, ball in his hands, game on the line, waited too long to go, really didn't attack the basket until about 3 seconds left at the end of regulation. They end up forcing it to William Kyle, and he didn't get the foul call, goes into overtime, they lose. I didn't think he played poorly necessarily against Kansas. I mean, he took care of the basketball in that game, but only scored 5 points. Yeah, I am a little concerned with the way this is a big enough sample size against good competition. He was great early on. He has not played well against the better competition. So I don't know if it's a concern, but it's certainly something I'm keeping my eye on. What about you?
Yeah, I am not concerned yet. He's also, a sophomore? Right?
I think this is his third year, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he's a junior.
He's also probably not used to winning and been in those situations a lot at Georgia Tech. So I think it's okay. I think he'll grow into the position and make better. I think offensively after last year, it looks so much smoother and he's stronger with the ball and he can play defense. I think it'll be okay.
We should point out with the game on the line, they did put the ball in JJ's hands last night for that final offensive possession. And he was able to make a play, get it to William Kyle, who was fouled, made 1 of 2, and they end up winning the game. You said a moment ago we were talking about the heroes from last night, and you wanted to go to the freshmen, and I think you're exactly right. I mean, Sadiq White and Kyan Anthony, both quietly had good games. I mean, Kyan only 7 points, but stayed within himself, didn't take bad shots, was good on the defensive end, and Sadiq White was phenomenal on the defensive end. 9 rebounds, did a nice job defensively, had 10 points as well, filling in for Donnie Freeman. He was once again in the starting lineup with Donnie out. Those two guys continue to progress, and I thought Kyan was better last night than he was in Vegas, and Sadiq continues to move in the right direction.
Yeah. Kyan, better shot selection, a little less volume, a lot of less volume, So I think I've said it about AJ. Each player needs to let the game come to them. Nate Kings did it in the first half last night, and it meant more volume for him. It meant, what? They're cutting off my 3-point shot, but they're leaving me a lane to the basket, and he went and got it. So
Syracuse 16 turnovers in the game. Tennessee had 17 turnovers. Syracuse didn't shoot the 3 well, 5 for 19. Tennessee only made 4 3-pointers. Free throws are going to continue to be an issue for this Syracuse team. They were 13 for 22. Tennessee was 8 for 15. So it was an even game across the board, and Syracuse was able to get this one. And but boy, did they need it. And you look at the schedule coming up now, Paulie, and it eases up from a non-conference perspective, certainly. St. Joseph's coming up next, and they've got a bunch of games in a row here that they should win and should win handily. Hofstra, Mercyhurst, Northeastern, Stonehill to close out the non-conference. But even with the conference schedule, when it starts up, yeah, Clemson's a good team, and that's your conference opener, but it's Georgia Tech, it's Pittsburgh, Florida State, BC. There are a lot of winnable games in the month of January. They could go on a little run here if they could continue with this momentum.
Yeah, I'm more concerned without the ACC is just how they play over this next stretch. You've got to play with the same intensity no matter whether it's, Hofstra or Clemson. You've got to just get it so that it's muscle memory, and you're playing that defense, rebounding at that level every game. And it's hard to do, but you got to do it.
All right, we had Adrian Autry on our show today on the Orange Nation radio show, and we let him off by just asking what that locker room was like last night. Him, the players, the rest of the coaches, to get a win like that when they desperately needed it. We asked him what the locker room was like after the game.
That was exciting for our guys and for our coaches and staff, and just the work that you put in, and after coming off of some close games that you thought you should have had coming from Vegas, it just felt good that you kind of get the result because you put the work in. That you able to do that and be able to do it in front of your, on your home court, in front of your, your fans and the community and supporters.
It did feel like, and Paulie and I were talking about this at the top of the show, there are a lot of similarities between that game and the Houston game. Just really high level from both teams in terms of the intensity, the defensive pressure. It's a tight game. It goes right down to the wire. It really comes down to one possession, tie game. You guys have the ball, and this time you're able to make a play and make a free throw and get out of there with a win. What did you learn collectively, not necessarily you and the coaching staff, but the players as well, going through that experience of the Houston game that maybe applied to last night in the late game situation?
I think after, like you said, that Houston game, I think it was really understanding, we talked about the margins. We talk about the margins of, in those certain situations, you got to make the right decisions and make the right plays. And I thought JJ, again, him and Nate, they both, they just made the right play and Will cashed in. That's how this game goes sometimes. I mean, again, we actually got the foul this time. Last time we didn't get the foul.
Yeah,
but,
right.
we're just making the right play and just really being in that situation. I don't think our guys, they were kind of used to it because we was in that situation similar, both nights. Kansas, the difference was a little, the separation was a little bit bigger, but you still were kind of in the game up until like the last two and a half minutes of that game. So I thought being in those close games out in Vegas really helped us in this game right here.
You mentioned JJ in the play, and he made the right play. He didn't react like he had made the right play when he got the ball to him. Was that, it was the right basketball play, but was there something else drawn up?
No, it was really for him to kind of try to get downhill, get to his pull-up or finish it. But, sometimes, when the basketball instincts sometimes kick in sometimes. And, Will was open on a roll. And I was just hoping that Will could have got off the floor and got the shot off and maybe got the two and then just depend on one free throw. But, again, it was the right play. It was for him to make the decision. If he didn't have it, Will was supposed to, we had another shooter circling behind him just in case.
All right, so it's a 1-point game. Tennessee goes down and calls timeout. Obviously, when you're the coach with the ball, you're drawing up a play. When you're the coach and you need a stop, can you share with us kind of what the message is during a timeout like that? I'm sure you're going over options or what you might see. I mean, how do you get your guys ready for a game-saving defensive possession as opposed to drawing up a play to try to win the game offensively?
We talk about our chatter. Our communication has to be at a level 5, especially in those situations. And you kind of had an idea. You knew that either they were going to go to Gillespie, which was their first option, and their second option, because they was having success going inside, that they were going to probably go into carry. So it was really just being on high alert, being able to chatter, communicate, and really just having a stance of and trying not to foul, but just being aggressive if you can and not fouling.
There were a lot of heroes last night, a lot of individual heroes in that game. I guess let's start with the first half and Nate Kings and 19 points in 18 minutes. And, when you signed him, I think we all looked at his stats and we said, wow, this guy is a shooter, right? And we're seeing a lot more, from his game in terms of getting to the basket and the way he could play defense. And I guess, can you speak to how well-balanced, I guess, his game is and his versatility? And it's not just a spot-up shooter. He can do a lot of other things.
Yeah, when we evaluated him, we knew that he was a two-way guy. Obviously, a guy that can really shoot the basketball. I think you guys have heard the word a lot that we tried to add versatility to our team. And I think the versatility part is being able to play on both ends and not necessarily being exceptional in one thing, which he is an exceptional shooter. He's a little different. And we were just thrilled, to be able to get him because we just knew like what you guys finally seen is what we think he would bring to our team. He's a super competitive, super laser focused, and all about the team.
Coach, you also brought in William Kyle, and he's already got more blocks this year than anybody had all of last year for you guys. Maybe you could break down his game, and like you were telling everybody, don't worry about his size. He's going to make up for it.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's a guy that we actually tried to get involved with 2 years ago when he transferred out of South Dakota. He wound up going to UCLA. But, when you really look at him, like he's a basketball player, but defensively he's special. He's a disruptor. He's, he just does a lot of things. He could move his feet. He has all, great timing. I mean, the blocks that he made last night were unbelievable. I mean, he helped and turned back around and blocked the shot. With his left hand. He's just a disruptor, but he has game. Like, he can finish around the basket a little bit more, and I think we got to try to look for him a little bit more down there because he has great touch around the rim.
How about the two freshmen, Kyan and Sadiq? And you never want to see anybody get hurt, but obviously you've missed JJ for a couple games, and now he's back, and currently without Donnie. And we'll get to Donnie here in a second with you, but as a result, Sadiq's had to play more, and Kyan got some more time maybe in the early going. Are you seeing that the more that they're on the court, do you like the way they're progressing? And both of them, they didn't have gaudy numbers last night necessarily, although Sadiq White did go 10-9. But Kyan 7 points, just kind of stayed within himself, didn't try to do too much. Do you like the way the freshmen are progressing?
I love the way those two are progressing, and they're getting better, understanding what we're doing on both ends, and whether it's offensively, the shot selection, the type of shots that we're looking for, and defensively being able to make some rotations, and the effort and the level 5 effort that they have to have. And I thought they both did that. I mean, Kyan made some great rotations yesterday, out of our defense, and again, he's a guy that can score the ball. We know he can score the ball. Now we're just trying to, continually put him in, what's a good shot, what's a shot that we want to stay away from. And then Sadiq, I love his intensity. I love his athleticism, I thought yesterday he rebounded the basketball like we need him to rebound. And also he can finish around the basket. So I thought we got him the ball around the basket, and he was more active, moving and cutting yesterday offensively. But love the way those two guys are progressing. They are, two big-time freshmen, and they're going to continue to get better and continue to help us.
Coach, you bring up the level 5 a lot, and how do you keep them at level 5 after that win, with the upcoming schedule? And is it important that they do keep it up and that becomes muscle memory moving into ACC?
I think you just said it. You make a muscle memory, we hop on it. We practice at level 5, and when we're not at level 5, we reset, and we get it going again. It's something that's hard to do, and so when I'm explaining this, about people, is just that, we practice really hard. We practice at a level 5, and we really try to hit that benchmark every time we step on the court. And so, it's something that, that they start to understand how you need to play, how hard you need to play, what that level needs to look like, what that communication chat needs to look like. And that's why it was really so important for us to really pull this win out yesterday against Tennessee, because I thought they did that in Vegas, and we just didn't get the results.
I know you were asked about Donnie last night, but we wouldn't be doing our jobs if we didn't ask you if there's any sort of update. And I guess one of the questions that I keep getting, and I'm curious if we can ask you, is is this injury? You've said he's coming back at some point. Is this injury something that will bother him the rest of the season, or do you anticipate when he does come back, he could get back to 100% at some point?
No,
this
we
season?
expect him to be back, 100%. From what I'm hearing from the doctors and information that I'm getting, we expect him to be back 100%. I'll know more about his progression of later on this afternoon when we meet with the doctors and the team gets together. But he's moving well. He's being active, so we expect him to be back.
Coach, you bring up the level 5 on defense. On offense, is there something you're trying to go for? I don't know if you know this or not. The announcers were kind of critical of the offense in Vegas. Is there something? Is it working the way you want it to work? And what are you looking for out of your offense?
Yeah, I thought the game that they were critical with, that's a former players, and it's funny, man. Former players, they are very critical when they get the mic behind them. But I thought we got good shots. I thought we didn't make shots, and then in that game in particular, Houston, I thought we got good. We had a good game plan and got the shots that we wanted. We just couldn't cash in on the free throw line, and I thought that was the case for both games and really all the games so far. But our offense is, we have different things that we want to try to, game plan for when we play against different teams. The way they guard things, whether we got two really good dynamic guards and three dynamic guards actually, and ball screens is something that we use, and we use that a lot. And we try to do different things of trying to get them in situations. And, William Cowell's an exceptional rim runner and a lob threat. So that puts pressure on the rim. It sinks the defense. And so we're trying to get that to kind of cohesively go. And yet, that's the part of our, progress right now where we got to really continue to make strides is on the offensive end. Our defense has to continually get tighter and straighten up, but the defense is good enough to allow us to win. win, and that's what we want, right? We want to be able to depend on our defense. We want to be able to depend on our defense so we can get our offense going.
How big of a stretch was that against defensive teams for you guys compared to what you're going to face the rest of the year? Will you face a group of 4 like that again, even if it's spread out?
Yeah, come to mind right now when I watch our league. Our league is really good this year. As you can tell, the first day of the ACC SEC Challenge, I think we won 6 or 7 games. The one team that comes to mind that's probably like that is Miami. Very physical team. They got some big guys down there. They remind me of one of those Big 12 SEC teams with athletes. Clemson is always like that. So, yeah, we'll have some more games in our league that will be physical just like that. And our league is really good this year. We'll probably have, 8 to 9 teams, once you start conference play in that quad 1, quad 2 vicinity. So our league has really, really done a good job this year.
Again, there was Adrian Autry on the Orange Nation radio show. We get him normally every Thursday at 1 o'clock. We had him on Wednesday this week because of our holiday party here at Galaxy and the radio side of things. You look at this schedule, again, we said it eases up here a little bit. They get a week off now, and I think this week off probably comes at a good time. They expended so much energy in Vegas, so much energy last night. And not that they can't work. They still got to work in practice, but I think they do need a little bit of a breather here. Final exam week, get the semester over with, and then kind of regroup getting ready for the rest of non-conference.
My hope is that Donnie Freeman is able to heal in this week.
Yeah.
And he's able to play in these games, so you're not just jamming them back in at ACC time. I want them rolling with these guys over these next 4 games. And I don't know if that's possible, but...
It's a great point, right? You want to get him some run before the games start to matter even more with the ACC schedule. And we just heard Adrian Autry during our interview today say that they believe he will be 100% again, which is a good sign, right? It's hopefully not going to be an injury that lingers the rest of the way. Once he's healthy, he's healthy. At least that's the hope. Let's transition and talk some football. It's also a big day for the football team. It's the start of the early signing period, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Everybody had their eye on Calvin Russell, the former 5-star, I guess now technically he's considered a 4-star wide receiver from Miami. He announced this morning he's not going to sign, and everybody's panicking. And what does that mean? It's not a good sign, certainly. Right. Michigan's still in the mix. Supposedly Miami's still in the mix. Syracuse, it sounds like, still in the mix. But this is a concern because he was the jewel of this class, right? And he did not put pen to paper today.
Yeah, I'm not worried for some reason. I think they'll figure it out. I think it's probably a point where I just got to make sure I'm doing the right thing here. Because it's asking a lot of an 18-year-old to be the guy who wants to rebuild a program rather than go to somewhere that's established.
Right. And he has said that he wants to play basketball. And with that in mind, it sounds like it came down between Syracuse and Michigan from that perspective. So that's a concern that Michigan is still on the list. Are you not concerned because of how Fran handled the situation today?
Yeah. I think the way he did, the way his
made
wording,
you feel better.
Yeah, and then his agent came out and released a statement. So
yeah, we'll get to the agent's thoughts in a second. First, let's hear from Fran Brown. He held a press conference today on National Signing Day, and again, he can't talk specifically about Calvin Russell, but he was asked a few questions about the situation, not naming names, not naming names, and we're going to play that exchange for you right now. Chris Carlson from Syracuse.com was the one kind of asking the questions, kind of going down that path, and Fran addressed it to the best of his ability. Take a listen.
Fran, knowing you cannot use any names, there's obviously a high-profile guy from Miami Northwestern that committed and didn't sign. What happened there?
It's the nature of the business. It's where we are right now. Final hours, a lot of things happen, different pieces of it. But I have complete confidence. I'm really good at recruiting, but I'm also great at building relationships. And I got faith in that Block S. Right, I got faith in the S, but now we can't, there's a lot of places in Florida that you can go and get a good education and be in school also, but I got faith in the S, and I got faith in myself and our staff, and I continuously work, right, and I work my butt off, and I'm going to say I'm confident that I finished. We got to sprint through the finish line. We'll be fine. You get the 3rd, 4th, and 5th to be able to sign, correct? So I'll be good to go.
And when you say you're confident, you're always confident. You mean with this individual?
I'm confident.
And then, is there anything you can tell us about? Is it do you think it's financial? Do you think it's the offense has struggled?
It could be a mixture of everything, but I just know that we got a really good relationship. That's genuine love for me. It's genuine love that I have for him, so that love isn't fake. There's time that's been put in, right? And how do you show trust through time? So I'm confident, right? Like, I'm confident in who I am. I'm confident in this Block S, right? I'm confident in what we're building here. I'm confident that people get a chance to see this being built and going. And financial, there's always things you can go do for money, right? But that doesn't mean that you're going to be successful at the end. I'm all about work, right? And just keep putting the work in, and the product might not look the way you want it to look in the beginning. But when you're working and you understand and you know you're working, I know what the ending results are, right? And for me, I always talk to you guys about, it's about the finish, right? It's about what we're doing and what we're about. So I'm confident in Dart. Like, I'm confident in our core values. I'm confident in our football players on our team. People want to come play with these guys, right? Byron Washington, Demetrius Samuels, Steve Angeli, and so many guys on our football team that are good. Jamie Treble. We got a lot of players that can play ball, and people want to come here and play football with them. So I feel good about where we are and where we stand, and continue to communicate, and let's just sprint to the finish line. It's just got to have confidence, right? It's not like a fan thing where I'm happy one week and they did this, now I'm mad, and then, they win, now I like them again. Like, if you win, you win, right? When you win something, you stay in it and you fight all the way to the end, and at the end, it all works itself out. And if it doesn't, then it ain't the end.
And then the last one, and I'll move on. Did you get advance notice, or did you find out an hour ago, or a half hour ago, and we found out?
I was on the phone until about 1:30 this morning, just talking with all types of players, right? It's just everything that go on. You're not the only one. Somebody else still didn't come through yet. There's different things that happen, so you just gotta. That's part of the game, right? That's what makes it fun, right? To figure out who gonna end up at the end, right? Because when it comes this way, so we just gonna see. It's also good that let's see what the fans think, right? See where they'll be at. I know he couldn't do it. I knew this would happen. Then what if he does come, right? Or then what if this happens? So it's like put your money where your mouth is.
Again, that was Fran Brown holding a press conference today on the first day of the early signing period. Calvin Russell's agent did release a statement, I guess you could say, on Twitter, X. He said that in regards to Calvin Russell, he has decided to push back signing this morning as he needed to take more time to pray on the final decision. He absolutely loves Fran Brown and is committed to Cuse football. He just wanted to make sure he is 100% certain with this decision before signing by the end of the day on Friday. So that was the message from Calvin Russell's agent. We heard how Fran handled it, said I still got till Friday. So let's see how this whole thing plays out, Paulie.
Steve, you ever watch Land of the Lost?
I have not ever seen that show, no.
Do you know what it is?
Yes.
Okay, well, there's villains in it called the Slee Stacks, and they were played by high school basketball players because they needed tall people at the time. And one of the Slee Stacks was played by, let's guess, the NBA player, all right?
Guess the NBA player, okay.
An NBA center and champion in our lifetime, and a WNBA coach with a slight tie to Syracuse.
WNBA coach.
And a center.
A slight tie to Syracuse.
Yeah.
Man, I was...
Bad Boys.
I was thinking Rick Mahorn, Bill Lambier.
Bill Lambier.
What's his tie to Syracuse?
Didn't he have a daughter that played here or something like that? Could I be wrong? I
don't know. I don't know. Maybe. I will have to look that up.
If I'm wrong, cut it out.
No, we're not going to edit anything. This is all 100% authentic. Bill Lambier. I'm googling it. Bill Lambier in Syracuse. Yes, you're right.
Boy, you should pay attention to local sports for a sportscaster.
Yeah. How about that? I mean, it was a while ago that she was here. But his daughter Carrie played for the SU women.
Yeah, welcome to Central New York, buddy. KYP.
Know your personnel.
Yeah.
Know your people. Yeah, there she is. I'm
dropping fact nuggets. Boom.
Okay, it was, in my defense, it was 20 years ago. Okay, this is the 2006 roster. But you were correct.
here.
Yeah, you're right.
Did you have a brain functioning back then or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I
Just
did.
checking.
I did.
Just want to make sure you're alive then.
2000. I mean, my son Luke was born 2000. Maybe I was preoccupied in 2006, but I didn't remember that. Thank you, as always, Paulie.
Thank you for allowing me to do this show with you.
Nugget. I appreciate it. All right, we're out of time. We've got our holiday party tomorrow. You want to do this anyway, even though you've got the holiday party tomorrow?
No.
Question mark? No.
No.
All right, fine. You're out tomorrow. I'll do it with Mario. I'll do it with somebody else.
Better programming.
All right, we got to go. Thanks for watching, everybody. For Paulie, I'm Steve. We'll talk to him again on Friday.
Join News Channel 9 for A Christmas Wish and help us support the rescue mission. A movie with a mission this Sunday at noon on News Channel 9 and WSYR Plus.